The legacy and access media are freaking out about DOGE, Elon Musk, and President Donald Trump. But why? Well, folks, we have a clue as to why, and it all comes down to the Treasury Department. It now appears that there was an effort made, perhaps, to make it untraceable where trillions of dollars were going. But now, Elon Musk may have found a way to show where that slush fund was flowing. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel that continues to do what we do and do it well, explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve, and we keep going back to the well of truth 4 times a day. Folks, as we get ready to get started, click the like button and we'll explain to you how artificial intelligence, a team of crackpot AI whizzes, and Elon Musk behind the windshield of DOGE have the legacy and entertainment companies freaking out. We doubt they ever believed they could be exposed. This is the article. It's out of The Wrap. Trump's DOGE tells Politico, New York Times, Reuters to give back the money amid government funding investigations. It looks like radical left Reuters was paid $9 million by the Department of Defense to study large-scale social deception, the president writes. Moving right along, this is by J.D. Knapp. It says it appears as though President Donald Trump and his DOGE watchers still have their sights trained firmly on legacy media outlets, calling out 3 well-established publications early Thursday morning. Politico and the New York Times once again found themselves in Trump's crosshairs, while Reuters was added to the lineup in a pair of Truth Social posts, seemingly at the behest of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE looks like radical left Reuters was paid $9 million. You saw that. DOGE also, why was Politico paid millions of dollars for nothing? Buying the press, pay back the money to the taxpayers. How much has the failing New York Times paid? Is this the money that is keeping it open? They are buying the press, he shared in a follow-up post. Next up, I can confirm that the more than $8 million taxpayer dollars that have gone to essentially subsidizing subscriptions to Politico on the American taxpayers' dime will no longer be happening, White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt said last week, and we covered that last week. The DOGE team is working on canceling those payments now. Musk says Reuters was paid millions of dollars by the U.S. government for large-scale social deception. That is literally what it says on the purchase order. They're a total scam. Just wow. So here's what, and by the way, they referred to the AP as the Associated Propaganda. Now, we're expecting a news conference from President Trump in the coming days regarding this. The question is, do these companies actually have to pay back money that was given to them by USAID, the Department of Defense, or otherwise, other departments, in order to propagandize Americans in the world? Do they have to give the money back? And we've talked about, to some degree, what that would look like and why that's dangerous for them, because if they fight back against it, they risk the opportunity of having what they were paid to do be opened up to the public. But the amount of money they have to pay back may be so great they can't pay it. We're not sure about that. What I want to say, though, the addition to this now is that we're starting to see really, really big secrets opened up in the U.S. government. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, and how hard it was for them to find this stuff, and why I think it's sending a shiver up the spines of the entertainment companies who had hoped, oh, maybe, it went to our subsidiary companies. It's been given to these lower level companies that we have these cutesy names for that they'll never be attached to us, and it's like, no, that might not work. I'll get that in just a moment. But first, I want to go to, because I haven't heard Jeff's take on this. Jeff, your thoughts on the idea that entertainment companies and news organizations, which seem to be mostly one and the same, that they may actually have to pay back millions of dollars that they received for propaganda purposes?
So if I could just say real quick, when I heard all of this news, I wasn't surprised. I feel like we've been lied to about tons of stuff in general. So when people talk about this story, I thought, that makes sense. Some of the stuff has been off over the last couple of years. That being said, I don't think they're going to... What's the statute of limitations on repayment? What's going to happen? I think this will get dragged out in courts. I think it's good to cut that off, but I think it's a little crazy to think it's just going to dry up tomorrow. I think if they're able to get away with this kind of crap for so long, the tentacles got to go deep. So you got to really, work to the root of these problems. So that's kind of what I'm saying is I'm surprised it didn't. I'm not surprised it went down, but I don't think they'll have to pay it back.
So, and nobody knows the rules about this, right? Like that's one of the interesting things about it. Let me go to what's happened since we began covering this, and this adds an extra layer to why the entertainment companies might be freaking out. So if we go to a post that was shared by Valiant Renegade. Valiant Renegade has he has a way of saying things. He says, bro, WTF. He's saying DOGE says it found nearly untraceable budget line item responsible for $4.7 trillion in payments.
Right. He's saying, bro, what is that for?
And folks, if you'll go down to what I had back to say, I'll leave that in print. But the word nearly is what is freaking out the bureaucracy, the deep state, and the organizations they worked with. Let me say it again. The word nearly is freaking them out. Let's go to the headline here. Here's what we've got. This is out of Fox News. DOGE says it found nearly untraceable budget line item responsible for $4.7 trillion in payments. You know what that means, folks? That means that it is traceable. Nearly means they almost got away with it. $4.7 trillion in payments. We'll read this real quick. The Treasury access symbols, when left blank, made it nearly impossible to trace the payments. They didn't want you to know basically what all the money, 4.7 trillion is a huge amount. That's unfathomable. And they wanted that untraceable. It says the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency discovered an identification code linking U.S. Treasury payments to a budget line item which accounts for nearly $4.7 trillion in payments, which was oftentimes left blank. The Treasury access symbol is an identification code linking a Treasury payment to a budget line item, DOGE wrote in a post on X. In the federal government, the TAS field was optional for $4.7 trillion in payments and was often left blank, making traceability almost impossible. As of Saturday, this is now a required field, increasing insight into where money is actually going. The agency thanked the U.S. Treasury for their work in identifying the optional field. According to the Bureau of Fiscal Service, which is under the Treasury, TAS codes are used to describe any one of the account identification codes assigned by the Treasury and is also referred to as the account. Now, the Treasury is what pays the bills. The Treasury is what pays all this stuff. Like Department of Defense, they have these people who they're wanting to pay out to. The Treasury's the one that does it. And the Treasury had a system that was set up that made it nearly untraceable. What they never anticipated, I believe, and I'm getting into a little bit of speculation here, and I think this is why the entertainment companies are worried. What they never anticipated is that a genius would come in with a bunch of geniuses and bring artificial intelligence with them. And what would take 10,000 people years to be able to figure all this out and trace the payments, it's doing it. And it's doing it in days. This system was set up to be so convoluted, so crazy, such a spider web of nonsense that you would never, like if you opened Pandora's box, you would just simply look at it and say, I can't figure it out. Nobody's ever going to figure it out. Artificial intelligence is making it possible for DOGE to get in there and uncover all this. And I think it has the CBS's, folks, I'm not trying to incriminate. I'm being speculative here, and I want to be very clear. I'm speculating. But I think it has the CBS's, the Reuters, the New York Times's, the Politicos, the Disney's, the ABC's. I think people are getting worried. And I want to hand it to the panel now and see what you think with this new revelation that most of the money our U.S. government was spending on this stuff was untraceable, except, no, wait a minute, it was, quote unquote, nearly untraceable. What's the freak out like, you think?
The biggest issue that I have with all this is how much has this contributed to inflation over the last 4 years, especially, and probably all times, because yes, those are taxpayer dollars, but we also know that a lot of money, trillions of dollars, was created over the last several years, injected into our financial system and contributed to upwards of, I believe it was 9%, but the reality was at times there was 20% inflation on certain things over the last 4 years. This is utter government craziness that I think that this is the very reason why so many people wanted to see a change. And somebody from, the truth of the matter is that President Trump is from outside the government. He's not been a politician. He's been a businessman his whole life. And I think a lot of people just, my wife, who is a Democrat on paper, voted for Trump because she loved his business acumen and wanted him to come in and take a look at the government from somebody who's not a bought-in, deep state, ingrained politician, regardless of the side of the aisle. That didn't really matter. And so now we have him and Elon coming in, looking at all of these things, finding things that other government officials have allowed by the trillions of dollars to slip under the table and under the noses of the American people. We are supposed to be a country who is run by, for, and of the people, and it feels like it hasn't been that way for a long time. And it feels like maybe there's a chance at that coming back. When I see all of this, and you see how it affects the media and the like you said earlier, the talking points that they have, and how they all fall in line, whether it's ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, they all have fallen in line. There's that one viral video, that went out, I think a couple of years ago, where it showed them all saying the exact same thing, and it kind of they kept adding to the screens of the different, even local stations, that were saying the exact same thing. It's really great that this is being uncovered, so that we, the American people, can maybe kind of get to know a little bit what's going on with our money that we contribute through our tax dollars that's taken out of our paychecks, whether we want it to be or not.
Yeah, I just have to say, from a business standpoint, and having worked in accounting, if there is no code to classify what something is, it is assumed to be fraud. That is completely unacceptable for a company to have. Essentially, it's just funny money. There's no way to audit that. It's just not okay. It would bring up the company on fraud investigations if it was a large enough company. For the government to get away with $4.7 trillion in unclassified funding, that's completely unacceptable. And it also might explain why, we got another 20 billion for the Ukraine. We got another, 89 billion for transgender basket weaving classes in southern Cambodia, or whatever it is. Only one of those is false, by the way. It's not even that false. This is completely unacceptable. And having a business person come in and say, where is the money going, as opposed to a committee saying, well, somebody's got to be responsible for this. When everyone is responsible for it, no one is responsible for it. This is untenable, and I don't know what I could do with $4.7 trillion, but I guarantee I would use it better than whatever this system has provided.
Absolutely. You can see here out of the Daily Mail that it continues on. Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt is tearing into legacy media, and legacy media continues to be driven mad by DOGE. I think there's a reason for it. I think they always thought that, even if this was uncovered, that they were covered by the complexities of trying to figure out where the money went. That's not happened. It looks like Elon and DOGE have gotten past that, and maybe that's why they didn't like the kid with the testicular kind of name for his gamer tag back 10 years ago to be involved in this. Erica, any surprise from you that the legacy media was largely propped up simply by the U.S. government?
No, I mean, we've been speculating this for years, but now we have the proof. Now we have the receipts, what we've been saying forever now. I'm not surprised that I think for me, the surprising part is how deep it goes. Like, this kind of stuff is going on, but you don't know how deep rooted it is. Because you do see fraud, waste, and abuse in the military. You see it all the time with military units and squadrons. But on this scale, especially in the political realm with our politicians, I'm kind of blown away at the amount of money and how deep rooted this is. And they just keep digging and digging and finding more and more. I don't think that money's coming back. I don't know why Trump is even bothering to ask. The money's gone. They've spent it on whatever. There's no way we're going to see a dime of that back. So just bring it out to the open. open the Pandora's box, do what you can do legally, and then move forward from here is what I would say.
Well, think about it too like this, the legacy media had apparently, well, obviously now, we can at least say they had the backing of the federal government. Meanwhile, independent content creators such as this channel, we had to face and overcome demonetization just 1 year ago. And so everybody who has attempted to take on the legacy media, you do so without the funding of the U.S. government. You do so with the knowledge that you can be removed at any time for just about any reason, real or not. Marvin, thatparkplace.com is succeeding in spite of all of that. But, for every That Park Place, there's 15 websites that are really good that simply cannot make it because the landscape is so difficult for truth tellers versus those who are getting subsidized for propaganda.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the closer we get, the farther we get into the new media, the more it becomes evident that there was this, dividing line between us and them, and they are determined to keep that wall big and tall. And pretty much most of the conspiracy theories that you used to laugh off and just be like, oh, InfoWars, whatever, like they're all starting to be true, and you're just kind of like, that's a little well, okay, so maybe this was the same guy all along, the guy screaming about this stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, the fact that there is so much of it's never been a secret to anybody that our tax money is not used effectively. But I don't think anyone really foresaw that it was this bad. And I just don't understand. I feel like I don't care who you voted for. I don't care. If you pay taxes and you see something like $3.7 trillion of our money just goes missing, how I don't understand the people that are like, why are we even talking about this?
I love the idea. Go ahead, Erica.
A lot of the mainstream isn't even really talking about how the money's been spent. Instead, they're, throwing daggers at the young kids that are working for DOGE and throwing daggers at them. They're too young and they're inexperienced and, forgetting that we have 18 to 21-year-olds with no experience with top security clearances doing our intel for us and doing our IT and maintaining our military networks so our intel communities can analyze and get our intel from our enemies. We have 18 to 21-year-olds doing those jobs. And by the way, those career fields they're accelerated courses at maybe 9 to 12 weeks long. So most of what they're learning is on the job. So, their argument falls flat the way they're trying to redirect these arguments. But sorry, I forgot my train of thought, my rant.
No, it's all good. I'm just, listen, I've got an internal monologue that's laughing at the idea that, and this is me just dreaming out loud, folks. So go along with me on a dream. But just dream along with me that Elon Musk and DOGE strolled into the Treasury and that they said, we want to know where all this money's going. And Treasury said, oh, darn it, $4.7 trillion. We forgot to tag it. Every single one of $4.7 trillion, we just forgot to tag it like we were supposed to. And right. I just have this internal monologue that's laughing at the thought of Elon saying, well, that's okay. We've got artificial intelligence and we're going to go back through every single computer's programming history. And we're going to track down exactly what this was going to. And them saying, well, that would take 100 years. And him saying, yeah, not for AI and not for big balls.
It'll take Grok about 10 minutes. The thing that I see is with Fort Knox, by the way, Grok 3 looks like that's going to blow a lot of AI out of the water.
Holy cow, it's awesome.
Fort Knox, they're having trouble providing some evidence that there's gold at Fort Knox. I'm not saying that there is gold at Fort Knox. I'm not saying there's not gold at Fort Knox, but it's very strange to have a site that supposedly has all of the government's gold and no one has audited it for maybe 50 years at this point. So that one might be a little bit harder to trace, but as long as this is all done digitally, I think that's Elon and his team of autistic 20-year-olds fueled by Red Bull and Mountain Dew. I think that this will be solved very soon.
I got a feeling, and it's that kind of feeling that may be causing the legacy media and all of the cronies there to say, ruh-roh, we've got a big problem, and the public is not going to like us no more. put this baby to bed. This video is over. Turn off the lights, but not quite yet, folks, because we do ask one final thing before we say goodbye, and that is, would you consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, click it and stick it to those algorithms. It is the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Also greatly appreciated, anytime you would like to share this out on your favorite social media platforms, well, we would love that, and we'd also love to hear your thoughts. Folks, drop a comment down below and use that beautiful mind of yours. If you would not mind, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Also, if you would like to become a member of the channel, it's as simple as clicking the join button. It is the price of a soda per month, and you'll gain access to all kinds of new, cool, exclusive information. Folks, until the next time we have the honor of spending time with you, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Jump into the water.
Why listen to music made by people and companies who really don't like you? Check out Vacation Radio today and prepare for all new content made by the people behind the WDW Pro Channel. It's the place you need for all the music. That should be fun.
Want it all, so I give them cannonball. Yeah.
Hundreds of songs, every genre you can imagine. Listen live on YouTube and enjoy a set list that's always sunny. It's Vacation Radio.
Arizona. Pineapple pizza, Hawaiian ice freeze, yeah. Can't wait to be up. 3 days of you and me.
What are you waiting for? Every WDW Pro video has a link to Vacation Radio in the video description. Try it out and subscribe today.